Today we're talking about how to plan a webinar. Well, as the workforce becomes more mobile, webinars have become more popular. So today I want to talk about a few tips to plan one effectively. So first of all, we want to think about the who, what, when, where, why, and how. So make sure that the value that you're giving your participants is worth their time, money, and effort to be there. Make sure it's relevant and timely to what they're doing. Also, this is a project, so it has a unique deliverable. It also has a start and end date. So think about it and plan it as a project. Also, know the end result, the purpose, or the intention for the webinar. What do you want the people to leave either knowing, thinking, or doing differently? Also, determine who needs to be there and why. Today, people are trying to get so much done. They have limited time, so you want to make sure the people who are on the webinar really need to be there. Also, create a specific agenda of all the items that you want to cover and how much time you want to allocate to each item so you make sure you've blocked enough time. Also, you want to be sure to pick the best day and time for those who are going to be on the call. Consider time zones. Maybe if there's certain days that are better for them, just make sure you make it so that it's easy for them to be there. Also, you need to ensure that you have technology for both the audio and video, because on a webinar, you're displaying what's on the screen, so that's your video, but you also need to have the audio capability. And also for the participants, need to have that as well. Also, give the participants advance notice. Give them enough time to plan to be there. Send reminders to let them know, and sometimes people are afraid to send reminders, but most people find them helpful to jar them and remind them to jump on the webinar. Also, record the session, because you can send it to the people who did attend and those who didn't. For those who did attend, they have a record and they can always go back and review what you covered in the webinar. And then for those who did not, they can take it at their own time and pace. Also, make sure it's easy to sign up for, register, and to attend. You want to make it easier for people to be able to do that, so they're not fumbling around trying to figure out how to even be able to register. And then once they get on, you want the people to be able to understand how it is that they get connected. For some people, it's new. They've never been on a webinar, so they don't understand how they're supposed to get into the session, and if they either need to call in or use the speakers on their computer. But just make that clear for them. Also, make the webinar short, concise, and to the point. Don't drone on and on about things that can be covered in a minimal time. Also, anticipate technology issues and have a plan A, B, and C, because between weather and certain conditions and buildings, and if you're on the road or mobile, all things can always happen. So you just want to make sure, specifically if you're the one hosting it, for the participants, you want to make sure that you have your plans in place in case something happens with the communication. And then for the people who are going to be planning to be on the call, or if you have a co-host, make sure they've planned ahead as well. And then practice, practice, practice. If this is your first webinar, you want to get comfortable with having a webinar. Practice what you're going to say, your pace, again, how to get on the webinar, how to end the webinar, and again, if you are having a co-host or other people on the line with you, make sure you test it before the live session. Also, create pre-work before the webinar. That helps get people excited about the session. Also, I found using polls during the session helps to keep people engaged. So once your webinar starts, be sure to set the stage, meaning let them know what you're going to tell them, show them the agenda items, and let them know what you're going to cover in advance. And then tell them, actually cover the agenda items in the time that you have allocated, and then summarize the session for them. Go back and let them know what you've covered, and again, highlight anything that you need them to leave doing. Do you have any action items, or what do you need them to do? So, of course, you can see this is the plan, and a tool is always helpful. So if you need a tool to help you plan your webinar, then sign up for our software now at projectmanager.com.